Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky.
Main characters: Rodion Romanovich Raskolnikov, the protagonist. A handsome, intelligent, but impoverished former law student in St. Petersburg. He is alienated from society and develops a theory that extraordinary men have the right to transgress moral laws for a higher purpose. He commits a murder to test his theory, and the rest of the novel follows his psychological torment and path to redemption. Sofia Semyonovna Marmeladova, Sonia, the daughter of a drunken government clerk. She is forced into prostitution to support her family but remains deeply religious, humble, and compassionate. She becomes Raskolnikov's salvation, representing self-sacrifice, faith, and redemptive love. Porfiry Petrovich, the investigating magistrate in charge of the murder case. He is intelligent, perceptive, and psychologically astute. He suspects Raskolnikov from the beginning but has no concrete evidence, so he plays a cat-and-mouse game with him. Dunya, Avdotya Romanovna Raskolnikova, Raskolnikov's proud, beautiful, and devoted sister. She is willing to sacrifice herself by marrying the wealthy but despicable Luzin to help her brother's financial situation. Arkady Ivanovich Svidrigailov, a wealthy, cynical, and morally corrupt former employer of Dunya. He represents sensualism and amorality. He is a dark mirror to Raskolnikov, having already lived a life without moral constraints. Dmitry Prokofiev Razumikin, Raskolnikov's loyal, warm-hearted, and practical friend. He represents healthy human connection and contrasts with Raskolnikov's isolation. He cares for Raskolnikov and falls in love with Dunya.
The story is set in the stifling heat of St. Petersburg. Rodion Raskolnikov, a former student living in extreme poverty, has become obsessed with a theory. He believes that humanity is divided into two groups: ordinary people, who must follow the law, and extraordinary men who have the right to break laws if it serves a higher purpose. To test his theory, he targets Alyona Ivanovna, a despicable, elderly pawnbroker. He sees her as a louse who exploits the poor. He brutally murders her with an axe. He also kills her gentle, simple-minded sister, Lizaveta, who walks in unexpectedly. He manages to escape undetected but leaves valuable items behind in his panic. Immediately after the murder, Raskolnikov falls into a state of intense physical and mental illness. He is tormented by fever, delirium, and an overwhelming sense of alienation. He is both repulsed by what he has done and desperately trying to prove to himself that he is one of the extraordinary men. He meets the Marmeladov family, particularly Sonia, and is deeply moved by her suffering and purity. Meanwhile, the intelligent investigator Porfiry Petrovich toys with him, dropping hints that he knows Raskolnikov is the killer but lacking the proof to arrest him. This psychological duel intensifies Raskolnikov's torment. Another suitor, the wealthy and vile Svidrigailov, arrives in St. Petersburg, pursuing Dunya. He represents a man who has lived without any moral conscience, and his presence terrifies Raskolnikov, showing him a potential future version of himself.
Raskolnikov's isolation becomes unbearable. He confesses his crime to Sonia, who, instead of judging him, pities him and urges him to confess publicly and accept suffering as a path to redemption. She gives him her cross and tells him to go to the crossroads and kiss the earth. Finally, broken by guilt and psychological pressure, Raskolnikov goes to the town square, kneels, and kisses the ground. He then goes to the police station and confesses to the murder of Lizaveta as well. He is sentenced to 8 years of hard labor in Siberia. Sonia follows him there, her presence a constant source of comfort and hope. At first, Raskolnikov remains cold and alienated from the other prisoners. But eventually, in a moment of epiphany, he realizes his love for Sonia. He finally rejects his old theory and embraces the possibility of redemption through love and suffering. The novel ends with the promise of a new life and a slow, difficult resurrection of his soul.